I remember everything. I remember the kitchen over there, the couches, like the living room over here.
1 year later, and it's the small remnants of life that stand out in Kibbutz Be'eri.
And this was all of her plates.
These are her plates. They're still here.
Corning plates. You know that? They say that they can't break. Well, they can melt.
Turns out everything in this house can melt, including the so-called safe room.
So if you were to come back and rebuild and have shelters, what would a shelter need in hindsight?
Well, in hindsight, it needed a really big metal, like a real shelter door, like a bomb shelter door. Towards the future, we hope that we won't need any safe rooms to hide from rockets or terrorists.
A bright message coming from Dotan Nave, who grew up in Kibbutz Be'eri. He still remembers a time when his community didn't need to shelter from rockets.
Past 20 or 30 years, the escalation of what happened in Gaza is really, it's really hard for me to accept, because I remember times that were better, and I remember from my grandma and my father, they told me all the time about how they would go to Gaza for to go to the market.
A reality he's not sure will ever come back.
You've talked about this feeling of coexistence, this feeling of peace, all of the kibbutznikim down here.
Yeah.
Do you still have that hope and that feeling, or has it changed?
It's changed a lot, because we can't really trust the people of Gaza anymore. It's clear. And I'm still I gotta hold on hope for something, because I know that nobody's going anywhere. But it's really hard to trust someone who supports what's been done here.
On October 7th, roughly 340 Hamas terrorists rampaged Kibbutz Be'eri.
They were everywhere, all over the kibbutz. We turned off the lights in the house and everything, and just stayed in darkness for 19 hours.
Dotan and his wife hid in their safe room until the military finally arrived around 2 a.m. and started evacuating residents.
Eventually we got out, and first thing I did was try to see what happened to my father, because we were disconnected from the morning.
Dotan's 76-year-old father, Mordechai Nave, left his home to check on his partner, Yona Freaker, who couldn't close her shelter door. But on the way, he was shot and hid inside this construction site.
You can see the blood on the walls here. That's probably my father's blood. They say that he didn't die from this wound, so we know for a fact that he probably didn't die here. The terrorists probably took him out, and they did what they did to a lot of the kibbutz members. They took him out, walked him somewhere, and then shot him.
101 Be'eri residents were murdered that day, and 32 taken hostage.
Our family was so deeply impacted and broken apart. 12 people were affected in my family. 9 were kidnapped, 3 were murdered.
10 Be'eri residents are still captive in Gaza 1 year later, including Yuval Haran's brother-in-law, Tal Shoham.
So we had to put the people that were murdered, buried deep inside, and believe that we can save the people we can save.
Yuval still hasn't been able to mourn his loved ones, as his focus remains on getting the hostages back home.
Our life is frozen on October 7th. Because everyone started talking about politics again. In Israel, if it's right or left wing. In the world, people started talking about the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and people are forgetting that human beings were taken with their children, with no way of defending themselves, in their pajamas, and they are still over there.
For now, the community has relocated to Kibbutz Chatzarim, about 18 miles to the southwest. But Dotan isn't sure if he'll ever be able to come back to Be'eri.
Do you want to come back here someday?
We haven't decided yet, because we still don't know what's the result of the situation going to be, and we have time to think about it while we're in Hatzerim for a few years until they rebuild Be'eri. As long as the terrorists are occupied with the IDF, they won't come back here again. Once the IDF leaves Gaza, we don't really know what could happen.
1 year later, and no feeling of closure, as the scars of that Black Saturday are still visible in every corner of Kibbutz Be'eri.
There's a lot of houses there with all the burn marks, and it's like nothing has really changed a lot. I mean, they did clear a few of the houses that were destroyed, but it still feels like we're at October 10th.
A community frozen in time for a full year. Reporting in Kibbutz Be'eri, Nicole Zedek, I-24 News.